Welcome to episode number 22 of the Everything Ham Radio podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about emergency power, and later, we're in our Amateur Radio Club Spotlight, we're going to be talking about the Wireless Society of Southern Maine, so stay tuned. Hello everybody and welcome to the Everything Ham Radio podcast. This is episode number 22, and today, like I said, we're going to be talking about emergency power. Now, you can find all the links that we're going to be talking about, as well as some additional information in the show notes of this episode, and you can find them at everythinghamradio.com/podcast/22. That's a number 22. Also, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/everythinghamradio, and follow me on Twitter at K5CLM. So, what do you say we get started on the topic of today? So today we're continuing our journey through things you can do with HF, and more specifically, we're talking about things about field day. So field day is coming up, like we said in the last episode, in the fourth full weekend of June, which is the 25th and the 26th. And one of the major things with field day is where you get your power at. Now, there is some classes that you can operate where you use commercial power. You can have your, I believe it's a Class Delta, which is a home station, and the Class Foxtrot, I believe, which is the EOC station. Both of those use commercial power. But if you operate on the Class Atom classification, then you have to have emergency power. So what do you use for emergency power? There's several different options to use. Most people that operate Class Atom or Class Alpha, excuse me guys, I'm switching back to my law enforcement phonetic alphabet. They use gasoline generators. Gasoline generators you can get fairly reasonable nowadays. That have come down in price quite a bit. If you're looking for just a single station, like for your home or something, maybe a 1 kW or a 2 kW generator, a kilowatt generator, which will probably power a radio and amplifier without really any problems. Now, if you're looking for, 6 or 7 stations and amplifiers and computers and all that, you might want to up that a little bit, but you can get a relatively cheap 2,000-3,000 watt generator for like $400 or something like that, and you can even get it even cheaper if you really shop around. So, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more than that, and you're not really talking about field day, maybe you're talking about your house. You want to make sure that your house is covered if you ever lose power. Well, then you're going to have to go a little bit more expensive. And you're really going to have to figure out what you really want to power. Should your power go off? Do you want to power your refrigerator too, or just your ham station? So, the more stuff that you need power to, the more expensive the generator's going to get. You can get a 20,000 kilowatt generator for like $3,500, I think I found. So, it all depends on what you want to do. But if it's just for your main station, then you can probably get away with just a little portable generator that you can buy from a place like Lowe's or Home Depot or Amazon or something like that. So, what else can you use? There's this big old ball of fire that when you look up in the sky, you see. And this big old ball of fire puts out radiation. And up until about 100 years ago or so, we had no way of collecting that radiation and using it, other than to get a sunburn or something. But now we can. We have these things called solar panels. And these solar panels will collect that radiation and turn it into energy. I read somewhere, I don't remember what the website was, I'll have to look it up and see if I can put it in the show notes, but anyways, it said that by like 2050, I believe is what it said, that 18 to 20% of all the electricity that's used in the world will be collected by solar panels. Now, if you ask me, that's pretty cool. We don't have to worry about fossil fuels or as much of fossil fuels. We got nuclear power, all that good stuff. But anyways, solar panels. They have massive solar farms that collect bukus and bukus of solar radiation and turns it into electricity. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, on the more individual level, you can go and get a solar panel like Walmart or Best Buy or something like that, and it'll charge up a small battery. Now, if it'll actually charge it up where you can use it constantly, that might be a different story. You might have to go a little bit bigger. But there is some repeaters that are done strictly on solar power because of where they're located at. There's no power out there. So you have, a couple solar panels, you have a bank of batteries, and when the repeater's not in use, it charges up those batteries, and when it is in use, it uses the power from those batteries to power the repeater. Normal everyday operation, no big deal. Major situation where it's used a lot, you might have some issues, but the thing is, you're using basically free energy and you're getting electricity out of it. Now, one of the things that I saw while I was collecting for my amateur radio club spotlight, while I was trying to find the club that I was going to do it on, I ran across this one club, and I cannot for the life of me remember which club it was, because they were not the one that I chose. But they said that they have their web host, their web server, is run by one of their members, and it's run at his house, and his house is run off of solar power. So basically what this guy did is he put a whole bunch of solar panels on his roof, and he powers his whole house by it. And it's really cool. I put a link in the show notes. I did find this one page that he has up on his website. And you can go to it, and it will show you how much energy he's bringing in from the solar panels, how much is in the batteries that he has, how much is in the batteries for the web host, and if he's bringing any power in from outside, or if he's selling it. That's right, he's selling any extra power that he has, that he gets from his solar panels. He sells back to the electric company. I mean, how awesome would that be to get an electric bill that says, "Oh, we owe you $50 or whatever," and have that happen every month? That would be so cool. But that's pretty neat. But anyway, so you have your small scale thing you can get at Walmart or something like that, to charge your handheld when you're not using it. You can upgrade a little bit, get a bigger panel, run your station off of it. As long as you have a couple batteries, hook them up in parallel. I believe I'm telling you right. Yeah. Anyways, hook them up together. Hook your solar power to it. It'll charge it up, and you run your radios off of that. If you really want to go all out, you can get the several solar panels, put it on your house, whatever, and run your house off of it. And then there's the big solar farms. So solar power has really come a long ways, especially in the past, 25, 30 years or so. It's really come a long ways. So what else do we have? We also have this thing that you can't see, but you can feel it. And sometimes it's so strong that it might blow you over. Well, I'm talking about wind. Wind. Okay, here's a little side story here. And maybe some of y'all know this, maybe some of y'all don't. Maybe y'all put it two together and got four a whole lot longer before I did. But I didn't really realize this until I became a firefighter several years back. I always wondered what caused wind. I never really heard a explanation of how wind was formed, or why sometimes it was stronger than other times. It was always, you watch the weather, they said, oh, well, the wind's going to be 15, 20 miles an hour. So how do they know that? Well, one day when I was doing training for my fire department, we were filling up air tanks. And when they were explaining to me how to use the system that filled up the air tanks, they said that, there's 4 air tanks here, and they have, a whole bunch of air in them, and once they drop below a certain PSI, you'll have to go to another tank, because what you're doing is you're equalizing the pressure. So if you have less in the tank that you're filling from than you do that you're filling up, it's not going to put any more air in there, because it balances out. And it just hit me right there in that moment that's what causes wind. You have your low pressure systems, you have your high pressure systems or areas, and they're trying to balance out. So if you have a really strong high pressure in one area, geographical area, and you have a low pressure system in another geographical area, they're going to want to balance out. So the wind from the high pressure area is going to blow towards the low pressure area. So yeah, that's my explanation on how wind works, as best as this mind can figure it out. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. But anyways, wind power. Much like solar power, it is an option for emergency power. However, it has its limitations. One, the wind has to be blowing, right? And two, you really need to be in a place where there actually is typically wind. If you live in a valley that rarely gets any wind to speak of, then wind power probably not going to be a very good choice. However, if you live on a hill somewhere where the wind always blows, 10 miles an hour or something like that, then wind power might be a good idea. So, if you live where it's windy, good idea. If you don't, bad idea. You can go on, and I found a YouTube video. Oh, it's been quite a while ago. I'm going to see if I can find it and put it in the show notes. On how to do a DIY wind power generator. And this whole YouTube video thing was pretty extensive, and it definitely wasn't for somebody that's really doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, if you're good at like woodworking or fabricating things, then you might do this. If you're not good at it and you don't really know what you're doing, then it's going to take you a little longer, but it is still doable. But anyways, this video that I saw is how to make a wind turbine, and it uses like I want to say it was like a dryer motor or something like that, and some like 4-inch PVC pipe that they had cut, and something else. But I'll see if I can find it and put it in the show notes. So make sure you check out the show notes for this episode, because there's going to be a lot of extra stuff that I'm not going to be talking about in the podcast itself. So, yeah, that's solar power, or wind power rather. And wind power is basically like solar power when it comes to what you need, because you can't power directly from wind power. You have to have some kind of battery system like you do with solar. So you need a bank of batteries, and you run your radios off your batteries, and charge your batteries from the wind power. And hopefully you have decent wind. Anyways, I'm rambling enough on with wind power, so let's move on to the next thing. Now, the next thing is a little, what shall I say, is a little eccentric maybe, and it might not be something that most people are going to want to do, but it could be fun too. I saw a video. As you can tell, I kind of watch a lot of videos sometimes, especially on like DIY stuff. But anyways, I saw a video one time where a Ham Club had done, it was like a QSO party or like some other podcast. I don't remember, or not podcast. Yeah, some other podcast. That's good, Curtis. Guys, my mind just went like totally blank. It was like a field day or a QSO party or some kind of contest. I don't think it was field day. It might have been. But anyways, I'm rambling again. They set up a stationary bike and hook some kind of power generator to one of the wheels, and people would ride the bike, and that's how they powered their radios. And that might be a little thing to have if you could find somebody that likes to ride a bike. But, most of the time when you're contesting, you're either doing it by yourself, or maybe like on a field day, you're doing it with two people. One person talking on the radio, one person logging. Well, if you do something like this, you gotta have a third person. You gotta have somebody to ride the bike. Now, another video that I saw, yes, like I said, I watch a lot of videos. This one I think I saw on Facebook. And it was a bicycle type thing that some company over in like Germany or Austria or Switzerland or something like that had developed. And this was still in a prototype stage. But you would like pedal for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that, and it would make enough charge in the batteries to run. I don't even remember what it was supposed to be running. I want to say it was an entire house, but that just seems outrageous. But anyways, this 30-minute charge was enough to power the batteries, the bank of batteries that they had, for several hours. Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it was like a fluke type thing or a phishing scheme or what exactly it was, or if it actually was a legit thing that some company is building. But it was a little bit of work for a whole lot of reward. Now, is there going to be a lot of people that might use, quote, human power to power their station? Probably not. I know if I'm riding a bike, I'm getting a little winded, and I really don't want to talk on the radio when I'm going, that would be kind of hard for somebody else to listen to, and that probably wouldn't be a very good idea. So yeah, but anyways, that about wraps it up for emergency power. Does your club use emergency power for field day? Leave a comment below. Let me know what y'all are planning this year in the comments. You have any pictures from last year or whatever? Give me a link to them. I would love to see some of y'all's clubs field day setups. I know we had a club spotlight a couple of episodes ago, and I really need to look back. But anyways, I believe it was the club that we did in Indiana, I want to say. They had the biggest field day station out of all of the stations last year. And I want to say it was like 24 transmitters. How they got it, I have no clue. But they did. And that probably took a lot of power to do, too. So, the emergency power? Probably not, other than the gas generator. Anyways, I guess that about wraps it up for today. This episode might be a little bit shorter than the others, and I don't know. And, okay. Take a breath here. We're going to pause. Yeah, we'll be right back. Okay, a couple of things real quick. And first off, guys, I'm sorry about the... I don't know. It's like, I guess, the way that I'm talking today, my brain just doesn't seem to want to focus a whole lot. But I really need to get this episode out. So if it kind of seems like I'm rambling today, I'm really sorry if I sound a little different in this recording. We've had a very interesting week in my family, with a lot of loss of sleep. I think the last couple nights I've had like 3 hours of sleep every night, and visits to the ER for my daughter, and other things. It's just been really, pulling my hair out. If I had hair long enough that I could pull out, it's like really short because it's in a burp. But anyways, yeah, I am still planning on getting my system upgraded. Hopefully getting a different mic, getting a different computer. But that's going to take some money. And right now I don't have a lot. So that is still in the works. It is still in the plans. So if you want to help me with that, you can donate at the bottom of the show notes. There's a button for PayPal. You can donate some, or you can sign up on Patreon at everythinghamradio.com/Patreon. That's Patreon. You can find a link to it in the show notes as well. If you want to make a monthly contribution there, that would be awesome, or a one-time donation, that would be awesome as well. So yeah, my plan is to get the new computer and some other podcasting equipment. Hopefully I will sound better. At the very least, I want to get my desktop up and running, my old Dell desktop up and running. Hopefully it still works. It hasn't been powered on in probably 2 years or so. So we'll see what happens there. I might just have to scrap that idea and go with a brand new computer. Real quick, like you've heard the last month or so on my blog, my wife has started her own blog called More Than Safe. It's morethansafe.com, and it's basically talking about our journey through the foster care system, as well as some other general parenting stories and tips and whatnot. So if you're a parent and you want to hear about us, or you want to learn a little bit about the foster care system and the things that we go through, both good and bad, head on over there and check it out. Yeah. Okay, so that about wraps it up for the announcements. Let's go on for the club spotlight of today. Alrighty, the Amateur Radio Club spotlight for tonight is on the Wireless Society of Southern Maine. This is actually the first website that the first club that I've came across that is like really active on social media. I mean, they have their website, which is consistently updated. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, several social media things, and which is awesome because social media is it's one of the major playing fields of today's society. It's probably the best way to get the name of your club out there. So yeah, they're on each of those, including their website. You can find links to each of those in the show notes. They do have a kind of a different meeting schedule than normal, or than a typical club will have. From September through May, they meet on the second Thursday of the month from 7 to 9 at the Gorham Recreation Department, located at the Municipal Center in Gorham, Maine. However, from June to August, they meet each Thursday night from 7 to 9 at the banquet hall at Wasemke, I'm probably butchering the name, Springs Campground, and that's located at 56 Seco Street in Scarborough, Maine. So, monthly to weekly for like 3 months over the summer. I think they probably do a lot of camping and other things, so that's pretty cool. They do not have any repeaters that are owned by the club. They do have several that they use, and they are active in like Aries and several other things. They do not have any formal nets that are hosted by the club, but like I said, they do participate in others around their area. They do field day. They do event security or event staff or something like that, communication assistance for an MS walk. They do lighthouse activations. There's like 16 lighthouses, I want to say the website said, that they can activate, especially during one weekend a year, which is like the lighthouse weekend or something, lighthouse QSO party or something like that, and they'll activate a lighthouse in Maine. They also participate in like the Maine QSO parties, and the club actually has gone a step further, and my mind just went totally blank. They sponsor, I guess, maybe, several awards. One of which is a Worked All Maine award, which you have to make a contact in all 16 counties in Maine. And it's open not only to people in Maine, but other people around the world. So if you want to get this award, add it to your award collection, there you go. They also have a Maine Lighthouses Award, where you make contact with at least 10 Maine lighthouses, and you can get the award. They have one called the Upside Down Award, which is kind of different. I don't think I've ever really heard anything about a award like this. And basically what it is you make contact with 5 stations that have their call sign that is the same upside down as it is right side up or reversed. Like, say for example, you make a contact with somebody that has like A5AA or A5A or AA5AA or something like that. It's the same forward and backwards. Or maybe one that's like N5U or something, and you turn that upside down, the N becomes a U and the U becomes a 5, or the N becomes a 5. The N becomes a U and the U becomes an N, so it's the same upside down as it is right side up. So yeah, that's a very interesting award. Kudos, guys. Okay. They have several projects on their website as well that are pretty extensive, kind of like a how-to project type thing. They have things like modulated CW circuit, how to build it, the diagram and all that, bandpass filters, direction finding transmitters, a whole bunch of stuff. I think there's like 10, 15, maybe 20 projects on their website that you can go to and do some of those as well. Each of them have a pretty nice write-up about them, as well as instructions on how to do them. And like most clubs, they have training in each of their meetings. But one of the training topics that I saw, this was not on their website, this was actually coming from somebody there with the club. I don't know who exactly it was that I was talking to. But they do a kind of like a traffic handling thing. Every month, they'll randomly choose a member to make up a message. And they'll set a set frequency and a set time. And the person that's chosen will make up some message and read the message over at that time and on that channel or on that frequency. And people come copy it down, and at the next club meeting, they'll see who got it and who got it right. Now, I don't know if they actually just like do a like a blind announcement or something, or if they do it like a net type thing or what. But the person I was talking to said they've had a lot of really interesting copy messages that have been brought to the next club meeting, and a lot of funny ones. So that might be something that I might bring before my club to see if they want to do something like that. Not only does it help with getting used to national traffic system type messages or message handling or whatnot, but it actually kind of seems kind of fun. Now, whether the rest of my club members think so or not might be a different story, but yeah. The other thing that they do is they do it on Simplex, which I'm not too sure that my club will be able to do, because the county that I live in is like 35 miles across and 30 miles north and south, and you can't really talk Simplex on that, so might have to do it on the repeater or something. But anyways, that is the Wireless Society of Southern Maine. Go and check them out real quick. Their website, www.qsl.net/WS1SM. That's Whiskey Sierra 1 Sierra Mike. You can find that link as well as all their links to social media on the show notes for this episode. And that about wraps it up. So with that, I will bid y'all adieu. Alright, so once again, I would like to thank everybody for listening to this podcast and listening to episode number 22, talking about emergency power. Great thanks to everybody, all my listeners, y'all are awesome. Please like and subscribe to my podcast, whether it be on iTunes, Google Play, or directly from my website. You can subscribe with both iTunes and Android phones. Please do that. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, leave me a review. That helps me tremendously. If you have any questions that you would like answered on this podcast or just answered in general, please don't hesitate to email me. My email address is k5clm@everythinghamradio.com. So, maybe I'll do like a question answer type session if I can get enough questions. That might be an interesting topic to add to this podcast. Make it a little bit longer. Maybe a little bit, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So if you have questions, shoot me an email. Leave them in the comments below. Also, please like me on Facebook at facebook.com/everythinghamradio. You can follow me on Twitter at K5CLM. I'm also on several other social media platforms, but those are the two major ones. If you're not and you want to follow me on one of them, check out the social option under the menu on my website, and that'll give you a link to all of them, the LinkedIn, Google Plus, Stumbled Upon, I'm on. So if you want to follow me on there, please do so. But like I said, Facebook and Twitter are going to be my two major things. So again, if you want to help me getting with a new computer or upgrading my podcast equipment, please donate at the button at the bottom of the page. I will get it out, guys. Or you can subscribe via Patreon at everythinghamradio.com/Patreon and make a monthly donation automatically. There is several rewards as well that you'll get if you do sign up with that. And I think I'm actually working on like a t-shirt or a hat to include with the $20 subscription. Or maybe I'll do it with the $10 subscription. I haven't quite decided yet. That about is it. I guess I'm rambling on long enough. Again, guys, I apologize if I've rambled on this podcast episode. My brain's a little fried. I need a vacation, and I'm actually getting one. My kids are going to camp this next week, and it's just going to be me and my wife for like 3 or 4 days. It's going to be so nice. I don't even know what it's like not to have kids. Anyways, that about wraps it up, so I will talk to y'all next time. 73 to each one of y'all. This is K5CLM, and I am signing off.